ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Committed Muslims, brothers, sisters, and children in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are in the month of Ramadan and we are discussing our engagement with the Noble Qur'an, because it is through our engagement with the Noble Qur'an that we can achieve taqwa. In Surah Al-Baqarah, right at the beginning, the second ayat says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. That this book, this everlasting book, in which there is no doubt that it has guidance for those that have taqwa. Now, taqwa is a very important concept in Islam, for which there is no equivalent word in the English language. But to understand it accurately, we would say, and we will have to go back to the root word of the word taqwa, and the root of the word taqwa is waqa or wiqaya, which means protection. That means that those people that have achieved taqwa, they are under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, of course, in the Qur'an, Allah also tells us that we can achieve taqwa, or we will achieve taqwa, if we fast properly in the month of Ramadan. As it says in, of course, Surah Al-Baqarah, again, ayat number 183, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing this very, very special category of people referred to as allazina amanu, not ya ayyuhallazina aslamu or ya ayyuhan nas. It's actually allazina amanu, people that have made a faith commitment to Allah. And Allah said that I've prescribed fasting for you in the month of Ramadan as it was prescribed for people before you. Now, of course, fasting was prescribed for other faith communities as well, although they have changed the manner of fasting. But we as Muslims follow the method that was shown to us by the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of course ordained in the Noble Qur'an, so that we may achieve taqwa. Now, taqwa, as I mentioned, is to be under the protective care of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to guard ourselves against Allah's corrective justice. Taqwa is a very wide word and term, and inshallah we will address this later. But if we fast properly, and fasting is not merely abstaining from food and drinks for 15 or 16 hours a day, but also to improve our character, because that is the whole purpose of fasting. And fasting should also make us conscious of those that are less fortunate than ourselves, that have to go hungry and without food all year round, and they eat only when food is available to them. We, of course, fast for 15, 16 hours, and then we are able to partake of our food. One other point that I think is important to keep in mind, that in Ramadan we should limit the intake of our food. The reason being that although we may feel hungry at the time of iftar, naturally after going without food for 15 or 16 hours, but if we eat less food, it is much more healthy for us. Similarly, it is important that we avoid oily foods. There is a tendency in Ramadan for people to eat a lot of oily foods, and that's not good for health. One of the purposes of Ramadan or fasting also is, and there's a medical reason, that it should help us to get rid of the toxins from our body. And that we can only do if we eat less and allow the body fats to be dissolved where the toxins are lodged, so that they can be expelled from our bodies. So in other words, Ramadan is and a month in which we achieve physical as well as spiritual health. And if we fast properly, if we are conscious of Allah's commands and Allah's power presence in our lives, then we would be able to benefit from the month of Ramadan. And we hope and pray, inshallah, that this Ramadan we would be able to do so. Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.